recording on Zoom, and I always thought it was just my OCD as to why I recorded on like several different platforms, and I've just always done it for redundancy. And then, sure enough, yesterday I did an episode, and two of the recordings failed.
Ah,
The show was over, and I pulled up the file, and it was like it said 1 kilobyte, and I went, "That's not the file." And it was an hour and a
yes.
half talk. It should be gigabytes, and so I was like, "All right, well, I'll go to OBS." I think it said 5 megabytes. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
no. Luckily, I could just download it off Zoom or not Zoom, off Rumble. So that's why if anyone ever wonders why I'm recording so much. But Aadi's been on here once before. The link to your YouTube channel, which is massive, Deaf Talks by Aadi, is in the description. And last time we talked, and I mean, it really was a treat just kind of listening to, you know, obviously, if the flag's not a dead giveaway, this is where I live and I love this country as everyone loves their country. And because of that, I can never truly be unbiased, whether that be rah rah America or the opposite, whether I see more flaws than there really are. But it was really interesting to hear your take on it last time and really about kind of getting all of the, those specific countries involved in preparing for war against the enemy. It was kind of a beautiful take just strategically and logistically. It was really cool to hear. And now obviously with about a week and a half ago, they've taken a shot at Trump, and now everyone's, well, Biden officially stepping down as the 2024 Democratic nominee, and now everyone is saying he's dead. And so there's quite a few new variables floating around. So Adi, I don't know where you want to jump into this.
No, it's interesting. Politics is like that. One of the things that you see between the Indian election and the American election is the narratives are the same. If Trump comes back, he will destroy democracy. He will not have any other elections. He will make you into a white nationalist Christian country, and he will become autocratic. So let me put that in context with the Indian leader. It was he will destroy democracy. He will not have any other elections. He will be autocratic, and he will be a Hindu nationalist leader. So
It's the
you
same.
know it's the
And
same playbook.
I just texted you the live link, and I'm posting it right now, just so you know I'm not playing with my
Yeah,
phone.
sure. I'll
But
put it on there.
yeah, but it is kind of the same playbook, and to me, it's almost like low hanging fruit, where it's like when everyone that runs that the establishment doesn't like is Hitler. The name starts to lose weight, right? You can only be called Hitler and a Nazi so many times before. I mean, not only do you stop caring, but at a certain point, you're like, you know what? If being against the mutilation of children's genitals and being for a leader that loves your own domestic people and quality of life is a Nazi, then I'm a Nazi, right? And obviously, you can take that out of context, but it does start to lose its weight. But how much? I guess we're really going to see the true weight of, is the president a figurehead for kind of the entrenched power structure, military industrial complex, intelligence, whatever? Or are they more of a sheriff that comes into town and is in control? We're kind of seeing that now with, I guess, Kamala is now gets the endorsement from Joe Biden, and Donald Trump survived what he wasn't supposed to survive. How does that actually play out in terms of the US not being the center of the universe? How does that actually pan out in terms of geopolitics globally?
One of the things that so let me begin from where you started, the military industrial complex, the powers they be, and all that. They're very flexible. One thing you must understand, they're very, very flexible. And what happened to Trump is something which is very dangerous. Why I say that? The World War One started on the assassination of a world leader. So if you're going that direction, then it's a dangerous place to be. And if this thing could have happened, I mean, with the way that the Americans society is armed, and that's your country, right or wrong, whatever it is, it's your
Sure.
country. I don't have a, I mean, I like weapons, so. Uh, but seriously talking, but what could happen would have been really, really catastrophic. You could have had a civil war. You could have had a armed insurrection. You could have had a whole lot of things, and not because of any political party, just some fringe group deciding to do something stupid. Gun violence is up as it is, so you don't really want to go in that direction. You also have these I mean, every country has these far left groups which would have taken to the street, because you saw what happened in France. I mean, when they were losing, they were protesting. When they were winning, they were protesting. So it's kind of a weird place that these far left groups kind of sit in. Having said that, as you said, the powers that be are very flexible today. And one of the things that you must understand, what's the new oil?
The new oil.
What's the new oil? Oil is not oil anymore, because you're kind of getting into a different generation today.
Computer chips or rare earth metals for batteries.
Yeah, you're kind of I'm just tweeting out your this thing.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah,
Uh
I would say it's high end silicon fabrication and or things like lithium.
what is it used for? It's used for tech,
Yeah.
you know. Uh so tech is the new oil. Who controls the narrative today? Who controls, you just said that you were, booted out of YouTube. Who controls that? It's the tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
So the power to influence people around the world is there with the tech companies, because everybody's kind of connected.
Yeah.
And that's a big, big power. The previous set of guys who used to run the world had the power of money, had the power of insurance, had the power of banks, had the power of all that stuff. But they still could not control how people think. Today, the tech, I mean, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they're fantastic platforms. You get to learn a lot. But for every up, there is a down, right? What's the down is there is an overpowering, uh, you know, bombardment of information to you. As you said, somebody recently said Biden is dead. I mean, you don't know what's happening. And, the speculations are flying around all over the place. People don't know what's the game. Is he actually gone? Is he not gone? Because I'll just take that example. 19 hours before he put that letter out that I'm not running anymore, he said, I will win. Exactly 19 hours before that. I have the tweet saved with me. And then to put out this letter without endorsing Kamala Harris. And then 15 minutes later, he endorses Kamala Harris. Was that a phone call saying, hey, Joe, you missed that? Oh, okay, I'll tweet it out. I don't know what it was. Secondly, that letter comes out in a piece of paper without, he's the president of America at the end of it. Where's the letterhead? Those beautiful blue
Yeah.
letters.
Where's the
And
officials? Yeah.
where's the bald eagle? I
Yeah.
mean, come on. So it was weird. It is weird. So you don't know what's exactly happening. And see, that's what gives the rise to speculation. That because people are connected all over the place, you and I are connected. We're sitting probably, if I drill a hole from my side of the planet, I'll probably come out somewhere around that side.
Yeah.
It's a huge distance. So one needs to understand that the power of narrative and the power of information is controlled by a few people, which are in the tech. These are the guys today driving the force. So let's look at that particular theory for a second. You have guys like Elon Musk who say $45 million for Trump. You have guys like Mark Zuckerberg who's come out and said that was what? That was, superb sort of thing. Something he said, that was very strong. He didn't say I'm going to endorse him, but he said that was pretty powerful what he did. You have guys like, you will have guys coming in the fray slowly. And then you see JD Vance, who's a protege of Peter Thiel,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Palantir and this and that. They've got
Rumble, Peter Thiel, giant
Rumble.
early
Yeah.
investor, if
So,
not like
oh,
majority.
he's also
Rumble.
invested in Meta. He's invested in Twitter. He's invested everywhere. They also created that software called Converse AI, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Converse AI, which was one of the biggest companies working with the CIA. And you had, by the way, during the pandemic, would you believe who pushing Trump to actually take this AI software for your health service at that time? It was Ivanka Trump. So there is that hidden uniparty which is there in the
Uh-huh.
middle, which wants to continue, which wants to have a certain consistency, which realizes, okay, fair enough. These
Self-preservation.
these Dems are down. The DMC is a month away. These guys have not been able to get their act together. If it is Kamala, no, We want some guy who can make money. Secondly, there is a threat to the US dollar being the trade currency in the world. If you look at India, we trade with around currency with about what, 18 countries now. So everybody's kind of shifting away from the dollar because of the steps that the Americans took with the Russians. $300 billion, and then you say that we will invest it, and whatever money comes out of it, we'll give it to Ukraine and this and that. People don't like that. It's their money. You don't do that. There's sort of a trust deficit that built up. So what I would think that the powers they be would be saying, okay, fair enough. We've got the guys who control the narrative. We've got the guys who are the bankers and the hedge fund guys. By the way, Peter Thiel is also the Palantir, right? That company's name, yeah. It's funded by who? The same three guys: BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. So it's all, they work together. And that's when you say that there is a sense of continuity. They're wanting to have some continuity, but they want to change the system. This current system is not working out. This current setup of being in perpetual wars is not working out. Probably Trump is going and saying, hey, listen, why are we getting into wars? You want to sell weapons? I'll sell you the weapons. What's the problem? Let other people fight. I mean, why are we doing?
Well,
You know?
and they are Palantir. Sorry to interrupt. Palantir created Lavender, which is the AI
Yeah,
targeting system, the target list production that the IDF is using.
yeah. Do you know 2008? This particular company wanted to get something called preventive crime software
Oh God.
into the system.
Oh
The
God.
the Tom
Minority
Cruise
Report.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the plan. If you actually read Palantir's website, they talk about it very openly. And now, if you see 2008, they had about 3 million Americans on their database as potential threats. Do you know the FBI has used this particular software made by both these guys, Peter Thiel and Naval Ravikant? There's an Indian everywhere.
No, yeah, Naval. Yeah.
Yeah, Naval Ravikant. And so both these guys created a software which is being used by the FBI for January 6th. So a lot of the facial recognition was done by the same software created by these guys. So what? Let me get this right. Trump guys are catching Trump guys. What's that? It's called continuity.
Yeah.
You gotta, politics is all about giving some, taking some. So you sacrifice a certain amount to kind of get to a point where you can change certain things. You can only change the system from within. So you can criticize all you want, but you gotta be inside the system to change it.
Mm.
Otherwise, it doesn't. Right. So you can have continuity with Kamala Harris, who's messed up your border and who probably doesn't know what she's doing, and she's going to be controlled by someone else at the back. Or you can have a guy who's, that's the choice you have. So at the end of it, I'm just analyzing that. The third person, well, his things will come in. Like in India, it's also the same. We have a person who kind of forgot his core voter. That's why he got a little bit of a kick in the election. He's there. People still support him, but we don't want the other guy. We don't want the other guy. And that's kind of where the American election is going to also stand. That a lot of people might not like Trump, but they'll say, the other guys, they're stupid. They're going to kill us. They're going to ruin us. So we're going to vote for this guy.
Yeah, the more you frame it that way, it's the thing we all kind of know in our gut is that it's just a centralized
Yeah.
part. None of them really care. It's all, I mean, Donald Trump is at like Chelsea Clinton's wedding and like vice versa. Like Hillary's at his, it's right. Like it really is the George Carlin bit. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And I think the biggest club, or the club with the most power is the military industrial complex. I mean, and I know that's not an original thought, but it is something that needs to be reinforced from time to time. Like the actual, not words, not nothing, the ability to project physical power, the ability to vaporize a human being, be it a Hellfire missile or a dumb bomb. And if you're not doing it directly, the ability to provide those weapons to your allies. And with cyber and tech, everyone knows either through the Twitter files that there was literal, DHS and FBI backdoors and all of these things, Twitter, or in all these things, like they all have early like DARPA funding that just kind of doesn't
Yeah.
get brought up. It's just like, yeah, that's a whatever. And it's like, that's kind of madness, right? Like prior to 2001, Admiral John Poindexter wanted TIA, Total Information Awareness, or there's the
Mm-hmm.
DARPA project LifeLog that ended the day before. Facebook goes
Mm-hmm.
live the day
Mm-hmm.
before, and it's set up the exact same. And the idea was basically, in layman's terms, let's see if we can get people to dox themselves.
Yep. And
It,
that they did that with Facebook.
yeah, and there is, and then it comes out with the DARPA P3 Adept program. I think Dr. McCullough was talking about it in December
Mm-hmm.
2022.
Yeah.
It turns out that it's like, no, actually, these vaccines weren't made by Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Johnson and Johnson. These are all actually, spoiler alert, they're all produced at DoD facilities, built by DoD, researched and planned by DoD. It's Scooby Doo. You keep pulling the mask off, and it's just, oh, it's you again, military industrial complex. It's Northrop Grumman was making the landing modules for going to the moon. Like there is no civilian space agency. It's the space shuttle was its specs were changed for the DoD
Yep.
so that they could put up NRO, National Reconnaissance Office platforms. Like yeah, everywhere you turn, you take the mask off, and it's there you are again. And it's it's like who's behind all
Yeah,
this, and
that's true. That's true. But I kind of add to what you're saying. The
yeah,
MIC is just one part of it.
yeah,
You know, the MIC is just one part of it that projects the certain amount of power that you need to hold,
mm,
right? After 75, one of the things that the MIC realized that listen, we can't fight anymore. People don't like it when we fight. And especially after Afghanistan, that thing became very, very clear that no, 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 no. This is not going to happen. Afghanistan was something they had to do because you got hit, so you got to hit back. And then you had personal agendas and this and that to get into Iraq and, control the oil and this and that and everything. But there is another segment of people, which is the financial market, which basically drives all this interest. And the financial market is the one that controls the dollar. All right. So you can ruin a country up and down if you hold the dollar, because when you print the dollar, you're not putting inflation onto yourself, you're putting inflation onto the rest of the world. Okay. Secondly, if you know there are, so, you won't go and screw a country up anymore. That's not going to happen, right? Your military is basically the US military is a projection of power. So when the Israelis got attacked, the Americans sent what, 4, 5 aircraft carrier? You just basically project power. Each having some 150, 200 aircraft. There's more air force than the entire Middle East. So that's great amount of power, but you don't use it. Why? Because there are issues. Now that issues we can come into. That's DEI, wokeism that you saw with the Secret Service. It was terrible. I mean, you don't put a 5 foot nothing woman in front of a guy who's 6'4".
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just not happening. And she could put a gun in the holster. That was embarrassing. I mean, sorry, but that was
I,
pretty
I
embarrassing.
I can do that, and I've gone shooting like 10 times in my life. I can holster.
The guys that protect our prime minister, they are trained to take out the gun, point, shoot within 3 seconds, and put the damn thing back. Three
Yeah,
seconds.
as it should be. That's what it should
So
be.
there are no ballistic shields. Like our prime minister, the protection guard always carries ballistic shields. Something happens, they open that shield, and the prime minister is in the middle. These guys just put that shield in front of him. There's nothing that will pass through.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of SOPs that were lost. So coming back to, you don't want to use the military anymore because it loses lives. People don't like body bags coming in. Your population is dropping. People don't like that anymore. So what do you do? So in 1985, the American government created something called the National Endowment for Democracy. Do you know the National Endowment of Democracy has a budget of $50 billion per year, which is more than what the CIA gets?
I'll be honest, I've never heard of the National Endowment for Democracy. I think
Yeah.
I'm a well-read dude. I'd never heard about it.
Yeah. So
But
the National Endowment.
tell me what it is. Yeah.
So in 75, what happened was when Carter kind of shut down your CIA because, a lot of shit was happening. And he said, enough.
Church committee, all that shit.
Church committee and, that entire thing. People were getting embarrassed because, what was happening was every time something needed to be done, they was I'm from the CIA. And they would do regime changes and this and that. That make things unpopular. It was
Yeah.
dirty. It was not, you know. So they created something called the National Endowment of Democracy. This was a letter written by the director of CIA to Ronald Reagan in somewhere in 1985. And they said that we need to create something which could do the job that the CIA does, but without having it get dirty. So the game plan that was thought of is that we are going to be the protectors of democracy. Hear me out very carefully. Democracy, the same thing that they are threatening Trump with. Okay. So the National Endowment of Democracy was created with a small little budget at that time under the State Department. Now, the State Department basically looks after indirectly the CIA as well, because CIA works outside. State Department is responsible for the outside. The State Department has basically pulled the strings and got the CIA literally under it. CIA's official budget is about $3 billion, right? And the National Endowment of Democracy is 50. That's in 2021. So I'm sure it's gone up by 3-5%, whatever, cumulative over the years. Now, what do these guys do? They basically formulate NGOs, working groups. They infiltrate into societies. They use the church. They use a whole lot of things to infiltrate into the systems of of countries, which includes your academia. You know, I'll ask you a simple question. Victoria regime change Nuland, as they call her, where is she today? She's a professor of international relations in the Columbia University. Surprise, surprise. Where was the biggest protest, anti-Israel protest? Columbia University. So all these things connect up, right? So National Endowment of Democracy basically had this charter to promote democracy and have a free, open society. Now, the thought process of an open society was brought up by whom? Woodrow Wilson in 1918, where he gave that 14-point agenda. He was like the father of open society. Now, this is where open society connects with the Open Society Foundation, people like George Soros and everything like that. Because they say, yeah, we will take this contract from you. We'll do this. We've got a contract here, this, that. That's how these philanthropists open NGOs in various different countries to have their hold and get lucrative contracts from the National Endowment of Democracy to do their dirty job. So when something needed to be done in Ukraine, it was the protection of democracy. In 2014, they created a coup which toppled the democratically elected government, threw it out, and put up a pawn and said, we've protected democracy because people aren't being heard. It was kind of sort of bloodless, kind of sort of. I mean, what they did to each other doesn't really matter, but the Americans didn't kill anybody there. The American government was not directly responsible for any deaths. It's clean. You know, you can brush your hands off it. They did the same thing in various different countries. Georgia, I mean, they've tried it in France recently. What happened? The thing was going right. Suddenly, they did a back-end deal. Marie Le Pen is out, and the left is back. So they do this regularly without having to know. There's an institute in America called the Albert Einstein Institute of the Study of Nonviolent Regime Change.
Really?
Yeah, you can Google it. It's run by, I mean, I don't think he's alive anymore, by a guy called Gene Sharp. And he's written a manual called the 198 Methods of Nonviolent Resistance. Now, when you read that 198 methods, it's online, by the way. You can just go to their website, download all this. There's enough reading material that you can see. Gene Sharp has written a lot about India also. So that's why I'm very interested. The so-called father of our freaking nation, I mean, so-called freaking father of our dear nation, was basically a plant. So 198 methods, all these things basically cue into a point. Now, when you read those methods, it talks about resistance, protests, armed resistance, this, that, and everything. A whole lot of things are there in that. It's like a checklist. You want to topple the government, go through that and tuck, 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 tuck. You can have the government down by the time you reach about 150, 160. So this is how control is now perceived around the world. But what happened? They took a bit of a jerk in 2014, 2015, 2013. What happened? Trump went up. to Trump and Obama previously were negotiating with the European Union and saying, listen, don't buy Russian oil. The Europeans went and signed the contract. Angela Merkel, who was supposed to be Mother Merkel, was suddenly removed. George Soros writes a paper for an outlet called Project Syndicate on the 26th of September 2015, talking about how Europeans need to accept 1 million migrants per year. 2015. Now, why would you do that? You would do that because you want to ruin someone.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get them back towards you. If they're showing you eyes, you break them back down and say, listen, guess who's your daddy? Don't cross
Mm-hmm.
a line. So what do they do? Engineer a coup in Ukraine, get your guy in, prepared Ukraine for a battle. Ukraine starts the war. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Russia's in a war. Russia's the big devil, Putin maniac, everything. And then you cut off Nord Stream pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the Europeans buying their gas and oil from?
Russia.
No,
I thought they were still
they're
were.
buying it from India right now, large quantity from
Uh,
India. And the LPG that they need, they're buying it from you at about 4 times, 40% excess cost. So you're printing the money. Europeans are going bankrupt. They don't have the power to show you eyes anymore. They linked with us. We bought Russian oil. We
mm-hmm.
kind of just washed it, sold it back to them. We make a big buck out of it. Europe down in the dust. No one in the world talks about the factor. India has done terribly badly in all sorts of things. New York Times, Washington Post, all over the place. India is a shithole as far as they are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't talk about the factor that we sell the Europeans huge quantities of oil every month.
Mm.
Huge, massive, 75% to the tune in certain months. 75% of their oil needs comes from India. And what is that? India doesn't have its own oil. We're not oil producing country. If we were, we wouldn't have been where we are today. We would have been stinking rich. It's all Russian oil. So what did you do? Without firing a bullet, you brought down the entire society of Europe. You brought down the entire country of Europe, the entire continent of Europe. Plus, you kind of broke down the society so that they can't freaking revenge against you again.
Yeah, they can't
Why are they
fight
doing
back.
this? Why are they doing the same thing in the States? You will ask. Why are they getting so many migrants? Well, they, in their mind, think if we have to control the society with so much information, what we need to do is break it down. We cannot have family values.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot like your parents. You cannot live with your parents. That's, oh, yeah, it's not cool. What are you, 10? Previously, people stayed with their parents. In America, I know people would live with their parents, work with their parents, family businesses, mom and pop stores or what? Stores or
Mm-hmm.
what? They were family run businesses. You destroy all that. Get the population dependent back on you so that they can't rebel anymore.
Mm.
Break you down into individualistic LGBTQRSTXYZ. People are more worried about what's between their legs rather than anything else. Get them stuck into narratives all the time so that they're just so busy they just don't know what's happening. And for those few who realize what's happening, you ban them. Cancel culture because you control the tech. It's a different way of trying to gain control of the game. It's not going to happen. That's different, but that's what they're doing. So you got to realize it's not just the MIC. There are multiple other organizations that are doing this. And the father of all these organizations is the State Department, which gets his power from this elusive sort of a think tank called the Council of Foreign Relations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you dig deep into the Council of Foreign Relations, that was formed by the British. And it connects to something in England called the Chatham House. Today it's known as the Chatham House. Previously, it was known as the Royal Institute of International Affairs. That particular thing connected to the elusive city of London. Comes back down to the same damn thing. The same damn people. MIC is just a tool that they use
Mm.
that is visible to you.
Yeah.
what lies behind is crazy. Now I'll give you a last this thing in this. There's a meeting that happens. Every year. It's called the Bilderberg Conference,
Mm-hmm.
right? You ever heard of it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was basically a ploy by the Anglos, right? The British Anglos, to get the Americans into the fold of the running the world, because they realized after the 40s, they said, yeah, we can't run the world anymore. Our empire is lost. Here is a country that we can kind of do stuff with. 1948, they realized America is powerful. When America started saying, hey, listen, give me back my money, lend and lease,
Mm-hmm.
got to pay it back, what the hell? So they realized, okay, we need to now play the game. So they established this organization called the Bilderberg Meeting, where they invited a lot of people from the states to become a part of this and give them the global structures control. So the power transferred from London into Washington, because obviously America was powerful, had a lot of money, young population, great industry, great technology. Even now, I mean, the technology in America is fantastic. It's what it is. So that's how it transferred. Now in 2023, we were on the menu. Okay. And you see what happened to us. Complete open election interference, this, that, everything. 2024, we are off the menu. You guys are on.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I'm not talking to my ad. People who don't want to figure this out, go to bilderbergmeetings.org. There, everything is there. It's bang in the open. It's just that we don't know about it. That's all. So there are these elusive organizations which don't use the military anymore. They say, "Yeah, this is dirty." What they're doing in my neighborhood in Pakistan, there's a ISIS, right? Who created the ISIS?
CIA.
Thank you. So there is another version of the ISIS getting created in Pakistan called the ISKP. Guess who hit Russia? ISKP. Guess who hit Russia again? ISKP. Moscow and Dagestan. Two big attacks. Guess who hit Iran with 150 dead? ISKP.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone with half a brain cell has any doubts that this is just it's just a covert action by the CIA.
So you don't send your own agents. Previously, the deal was CIA used to go themselves.
Mm-hmm.
American soldiers, American agents would actually go and do the stuff. That was getting unpopular.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sell democracy to other people when you're killing people yourself? Right? So the Obama years, for that matter. That's why a mellowed down Joe Biden was brought in, so that he could kind of become the grandfatherly figure. He failed at it, but that was the idea. You
Yeah.
bring him, no, peace, this, that. He started two wars, but still talks about peace.
Yeah.
That's the perception. So you control the narrative at the back end. Through whom? The tech guys. So they're gaining more power. And that's why today all the tech guys stand by Trump.
Mm.
And these guys are saying, okay, either we fight these guys or we stick with them. So they said, fair enough. We stick. And let's see. That's the story as of now. I don't know if they change their mind again.
That's the story now for everybody. July 23rd, 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Elon, owner of X, and then, it's like, well, sure, he owns X. They could shut down. Well, he has Starlink internet, so he doesn't need your internet when he has the rockets to put the
No,
internet. But just,
no. He's a Pentagon contractor.
oh no, he is. No,
Yeah.
he's the biggest DoD sole contract. No, I get
Yeah.
that. But what I mean is like you do. That's a telltale sign that a couple days before, yeah, and Zuckerberg said that was the most badass thing I've ever seen, right? You
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
and
Badass. That's the word you used.
I kind of don't have I don't have any delusions about them or even Musk because they're not stupid guys. They make money. They know America is their bank, and they're putting their finger up in the air and going, which way is the wind going? In
By the
2020,
way, your Secret Service director just resigned.
Cheadle?
Yeah.
Oh, why just now?
Yeah. Just got an update. AFP.
Well, let's pull that. Let's see. But what I was gonna say is, no, they've all got their right. 2020, they're going. We just came off 3 years of them saying that Trump's a Russian asset. It's COVID. It's George Floyd riots, right? They put their finger up in the air and they're like, tides are turning, right? I think they're putting their finger up in the air again and they're going, tides are turning. I don't I don't have any
CrowdStrike.
illusions about Musk or Zuckerberg. And a couple days before the assassination attempt, Meta removed all restrictions from Trump's account, Instagram, Facebook. That ain't nothing. They're these guys aren't stupid. They're soulless demons. Like they're going,
Yeah,
there's a groundswell of kind of nationalism. They're putting their money behind. Why wouldn't they? That's what they do. That's what they've done all through. That's what they've done for the last 200 years.
I do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm sitting on trillions, I'm not going to lose my trillions. Wait, hang
Exactly.
on.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
catch
with
up for a
her.
drink.
I'm
We'll
with
sort it
Trump.
out.
What? Yeah, MAGA 2020, or I'm with Hillary. Like, whatever, man. That's
You
what
know
these
what's
guys
MAGA
do.
actually? You know
What?
what's MAGA actually? What's the full form of MAGA?
What's what?
What's the full form of MAGA?
Make America great again.
Nah, it's Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon.
I know, right? It's like the Eller thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
LGBTQ.
sick.
I'm Lockheed Martin. I'm Boston
Yeah,
Dynamics. I'm Grumman, and I'm I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What a Metadyne, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, it's madness. Where is it? I screenshot that the other day about LGBTQ. And but no, that much is very clear. And it's just what it is. And I think the fault would be, I don't really fault them for doing it. I think I almost kind of appreciate a billionaire more because you can see what they want out front, right? You get
yeah.
the social engineers, the intelligence, those are more slimy. The billionaire, you can pretty much figure out what they're doing. They're like, yeah, they're increasing shareholder like it's pretty cut and dry. It's a
They're
dog going
making
after a
money.
bone.
They're
Yeah,
making money.
it's a
It's fine.
dog a cat. A cat is a sneaky motherfucker. You see a cat walking around, you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you gonna, you're gonna bite a cable? You're about to, knock something off a dog is pretty simple. Dog wants to bark, it wants to eat, it wants to sleep. It's what a dog is. You can see it from a
Yeah.
mile away. A cat's like the CIA. You're like, what are you doing? You're sneaking around. But so to me, if anything, that's the biggest indicator then that if the money's starting to move behind Trump, then that's where the big money's go, right? He's floating. Who's the head of BlackRock for head of the Treasury?
Larry Fink,
Fink, and who did he want
JP
Jamie Dimon
Morgan,
to be?
Fed,
From Yeah, he wanted Jamie Dimon to do what? Was that Treasury or Fed chair or
Fed,
whatever?
Fed, Fed.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see it's kind of decided. You can kind of
Yeah.
see like
Yeah.
I mean, just from 100,000 foot view. And I'm biased. I tend to like Trump more than the other, but I'm also trying to grow as a person and be like, what's really behind this? It's money. It's money. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's just
it
where the
is.
tides
It's
are
money,
turning.
it's power.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just no question. See, the game is very simple. You kind of hit on two, three very interesting things. The game is very simple. You got to control. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other way. You're not going to lose your entire world. Having said that, it's going to be difficult holding the world order together, right? Because certain mistakes have been made, and now those mistakes are going to come and bite. One of the biggest mistakes was China, right? You did the deal with the devil, okay? And this unhealthy obsession with Russia is something which is a big mistake.
Yeah.
Uh, Putin is not evil. I mean, he does what he does in his country. Let him be. You can be friends with Pakistan and Saudi Arabia with chop
Yeah.
chop square in the middle of his freaking capital, but you can't be friends with Putin. Why?
Yeah. We're friends
I
with
mean,
all the demons. Why wouldn't we be friends
yeah,
with
so that's
Putin?
fine. I mean,
Yeah.
like the recommendation my prime minister got when he went and met Putin this time. Oh, he's hugging the devil. So freaking what? I mean,
America can't cast a
oh,
stone at anyone. I mean,
oh, they do. You should
they,
you
they
should have
do. They
seen the
do.
meltdown. You should have seen the meltdown. Modi cannot be trusted anymore. Modi is, backstabbing us. Modi is this. Modi is just showing eyes to the America. Oh God, we have a huge defense relationship. Our oil trade is up to about 50 billion right now. Why wouldn't our presidents meet, prime ministers and head of states meet?
Why wouldn't
I mean,
exactly? Why wouldn't they? But the thing is the people casting, I don't know, maybe there might be true believers. There probably are true believers. I was gonna say the people casting the stone, they probably know the stone's bullshit. They know that their base, the radical left or the alternative side, the radical right, they know that they're true believers. So they have to give them a bone and be like, Putin's evil, Modi's evil. I would imagine the people saying that, they probably say that and then they close the door and they resume their phone call with Modi. They're
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
like, "Hey, I gotta do
yeah.
this thing real quick. Modi's the devil. He eats babies. He's Satan incarnate." Like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you guys were refining that from sweet crude to heavy. Okay, yeah, sure. They're probably talking to Putin,
You
unless
know
of
which is the
course
country which is becoming one of the biggest data hubs in the world?
India.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be
So data is going to be,
big tech? Yeah, you can kind of see you can kind of see it. It's maybe easier to be buddy buddy with one country, India, data hub, big tech, and then from oil and energy, kind of siphoning Europe to make it so it has to buy from India. It kind of seems
Mhm.
like America is we're looking 5, 10, 20 years down the road. We're going, India is
You
our
are,
new buddy.
yeah.
So let's get them rich and
See,
let's get them data
because
rich.
yeah, you got to give something to get something, right? You can't
Yeah.
just say, "Okay, okay, you do everything we want to," and that's where the clash is.
Hmm.
The two countries today, if the diplomatic, I mean, people, I think there's a lot of goodwill between the countries, but the government trust is zero. Let me just say that people just in India, nobody trusts the Americans.
Yeah.
It's
We
very
don't
very
tr-
simple.
we don't trust the Americans.
You don't trust your
No.
government, so it's
No.
like that.
Yeah.
The point is that now why are they doing what they're doing to India? The recognition, the New York Times, the Washington Post, India's dirty, India's this, India's that, all that. Why are they doing that? So that you can break down the society. Again, the same thing, because India doesn't take illegals. That also they tried, by the way. About 500,000 illegals were pumped in. Radical Muslims were pumped in from bloody Burma into our country. We're trying to throw them out now.
Hell yeah.
But we didn't take any of those guys. We didn't have any of those problems. So what do? You look at the country and you say, okay, what are your fault lines? Every country has fault lines. You can play off Texas with Florida very
Hmm.
easily.
Sure.
You know, you can
Yeah.
do that. Uh, there are differences. You can play off New York with Washington. You could do that. I mean, forget all that. There's so much difference between New York City and what New Jersey.
Yeah.
They don't like each other.
No,
So you,
they're right
these are
next to each other.
yeah, they're fault lines. So you kind of play on those fault lines, and that's why you see, oh, India's casteist. Really? Okay, let me get this straight. Here is a society that talks about Hispanic Americans, Indian Americans, Pakistani Americans, Arab Americans, European Americans, Swedish Americans, Italian Americans. What is that? That's not caste. You're
Yeah,
dividing people.
yeah. You non-gender, non-fluid, binary, white male, pro-mill, Trumpian. What is that?
What is that?
That is that is
Yeah.
put that is
So,
putting
there's a good old theory about the Soviet Union. The Soviets said we want to create something called the Soviet man. He'll be atheist, he'll work, he'll be tough, he'll have a
yeah.
family, he'll have this. They had that ideal Marxist sort of a view. So when the Soviet Union fell down, people said, where's the Soviet man? They looked around, they said, we have Russians, we have Ukrainians, we have
Hmm.
Latvians, we have Lithuanians. There's no Soviet man.
Yeah.
It does not, it doesn't work. The problem is when the Soviet Union fell, all these Marxists basically got dressed, wore a suit and tie, went into Harvard, got a degree, and they had the same ideas, right? And they are basically now called the welfareism people, the
Hmm.
pro-democracy people. It's the same mindset. It's the same dirty communistic mindset.
Yeah. It's
Wealth redistribution. That's what people talk about in your country.
hmm.
Why is 1% so rich? We should take something from them and give it to them. That's not the way you enrich poor. You gotta give them opportunities so that they can come up and become rich. Kamala Harris actually said, we need to all reach to the same place, be at the same place. What do you mean by that?
No.
Be at the same place in life, rich and poor? No, no.
No, you do that not because you're trying to redistribute wealth, but because you're trying to get power. Again, yeah, these people aren't stupid. They know that's not how it
Yeah.
works, but they know how they can get a lot of votes from people. Is if you have one guy worth 1 billion and you got 90 million who aren't, Well, that one guy's got one vote. The 90 million have 90 million votes. You can say, I'm going to bring him down and I'm going to give you as much as you want. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's and of course, the reason why it always happens again and again over the last century and a half is people are stupid, people are retarded, and they believe it, and then they're put up against the wall and they have their brains blown out, and they say this isn't real communism. But it doesn't matter because the people using you as the useful cattle to get you to the point got to the point they wanted. They got
Yep.
to the, they're in Soviet Union, they get their dacha, or if you're in DC, you get your cushy defense contractor job, or you go give speeches at Goldman Sachs. You get whatever you want. They don't care.
I
JP
mean,
Morgan
for a
doesn't
speech, you
care
get
if you,
$250,000 as Hillary
yeah,
Clinton does.
JP Morgan doesn't give a shit that you identify as genderqueer.
No,
They got some
they don't.
actuaries looking at it going, we can increase market share by 1.7%. Do it.
But,
Send it.
but that's where the interesting thing comes in.
Yeah.
Larry Fink from BlackRock last year said we need to make companies behave, right?
Oof.
For
That's
DEI, right?
that's a man,
Last week,
somebody says that you got to keep an eye on them.
you can keep your eyes on him. The guy owns $9 trillion, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine.
It doesn't matter. Keep eye on them or not. It doesn't matter really.
Yeah, if he walks off from USA, half your economy is down. So understand that he's bigger, twice the size of us. So I respect him.
I would imagine the heads of Vanguard and BlackRock were. I would go out on a limb and say they're probably on Epstein Island, and there's a reason why they'll never leave.
Yeah.
That's not
So
Audi saying that. That's me saying it for the record. I don't want to put words
no,
in your
you
mouth.
never know. You never know. You never know. But let me just say this. He said companies need to behave. Recently, he's been quoted to say DEI is kind of weaponized. It's getting a little too much. Last week, Microsoft fired its entire DEI
Yeah,
team,
yeah. That's not necessary for what workforce efficiency or
right?
something.
And then Microsoft goes up with a CrowdStrike
Hmm.
outage for one day. So it went off in Windows 10. It didn't in Windows 11. What the hell was that? Now, let's dig into it. Daniel Alperovich, I think that's the name of the guy who owns this. Trump mistakes him for because he's got a Ovich name. I think he's, Ukraine and all that. This was the company hired when the DNC servers got hacked.
Oh,
This was the company hired to protect Hillary when her emails got hacked. This was the company that was hired to investigate into Trump's alleged Russiagate. What the hell were they deleting?
yeah, yeah,
That's the whole thing. So when you know you're in shit, what do? You start burning papers. This to me was a paper burning exercise.
yeah.
Now you look at this Daniel Alperovich. Well, I might be mispronouncing his last name. This guy's career is very interesting, huh? 2010, he was in McAfee. 2010, there was a massive outage in McAfee.
Where he goes, it all comes down. It's like the force,
Comes or brings.
he's the Forrest Gump of destroying
Yeah.
data.
So they just the big tech just told the entire world, listen, hello, we can shut you down.
Yeah.
Now there were 3, 4 countries that didn't get hit in terms of the airlines and their banking and stuff like that. India, China, Russia. We didn't. Our servers that were connected to the international servers, as far as the flights are concerned, there were some issues.
Hmm.
Nothing happened to our banks, nothing happened to our critical infrastructure, nothing. Zero.
There's something kind of funny about, yeah, Fink saying DEI
Yep.
is weaponized. I didn't know he said that. I know Microsoft did lay off the whole D. Is this not just communism manifest? Put them against the wall. Put the revolutionaries against the wall. You got
That's
us
how
where
it
we
is.
needed to get. You got us where we got the bonus points with everybody. Kill them. Remove them. That's exactly what it is.
They're called useful idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put them against that's what it is. That was the modern put them against the wall. Hey, Adi, tell everybody where to find your show and everything. I'm gonna go fill this up with water and use the restroom. I'll be
Yeah,
right
you
back.
can find me on YouTube. The name of the channel is Deaf Talks by Aadi. I basically talk about Indian geopolitics, politics of this region, world affairs, the wars, a lot of things and stuff like this, the deep state stuff. which is kind of deep. So I do my deep digging, and what I've told you is basically stuff that I've dug up in the past some time. How does the world work? What is DEI? Why are they doing this? Who's the deep state? Who's the MIC? And of course, this whole Trump thing literally blew in my face when I realized that there are huge powers actually controlling everything. And I always knew the existence of something called the Uniparty. I was made to see it when I did this research. It was very interesting. And one of the biggest things that, as Tommy was mentioning, is that the military-industrial complex demonized over bit, but that's how it is. I mean, the people recognize the MIC as the great power, as said by, I think, Eisenhower, if I'm not mistaken, after the Second World War, before he left his office. He said that we need to kind of control the military industrial complex. I think that statement only led valid till about 85, 86, or probably till, you can say, probably till Afghanistan, beyond which I don't think so, because the whole game has changed um, towards, as I said, non-violent stuff. So you want to do a regime change, you don't really hit somebody, you slowly topple them. So that's some of my interest, to find out how the world actually works, because nobody tells us that. We're not been educated in this. Every country hides a certain amount of history, so it's interesting to dig that out. I am also on Twitter. You can find me with the same username. It's DEF Def Talks by Adi, double ADI.
You,
So yeah,
you
that's who I am.
thank you. You were right. Yeah. Kimberly Cheadle resigns.
Yeah, she resigned. I knew it.
I'm
And
I'm
I
surprised.
the
I didn't
first
know.
day this thing happened, I said there was a second shooter on my
Yeah.
channel. I said that.
Yeah.
People said, "You're a mad guy, you're a conspiracy theorist." Not today, it's coming out. There was a second shooter.
Yeah. That's yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, in America, let me just kind of break this down for you. BlackRock's affiliated company called AWL, I forget the full form. They short traded on Trump's
Truth Social the
Trump
day before. Yeah, no.
media. Yeah, 12 million shares. And they say, oh, sorry, instead of doing 1,200, we kind of miscalculated and
July
made 12
12th.
million.
Didn't that company also have ties to George H.W. Bush? Didn't they handle his money?
Bush, Cheney, Soros, BlackRock, Vanguard.
I mean, I'm laughing, but it's what it is. It was a coup attempt. I mean,
But something you need to tell me, why isn't Barack Obama kind of, uh, you know, endorsed Kamala? She's black. He's black. I mean, she's black. She's Indian. She uses the card interchangeably. That's interesting. Is
yeah,
Michelle or Big Mike still in the race?
yeah, no, Big Mike. Yeah, no, I think ultimately they're gonna end up endorsing Newsom. I don't think it's gonna be Kamala.
No,
Kamala
Newsom will become. No, no, no. Your electoral college, there's some rule. I don't know the details of it, but I read somewhere there's a rule that, because she's also from California, he's from California, there might just be a problem.
uh,
So I don't think he's going to come in. And see, let me tell you one thing. If I was Newsom, I would say, dude, I'm not getting you this. Last minute, I haven't campaigned.
that's
No,
a good point. He's probably
you know,
like, yeah,
I
because in
have
a
age. I'll do it next time.
yeah, no, because in a political career, you kind of want to do that once. You want to
And
go
do it
for it,
well.
and it's like the super. It's not. It's like the super. It's like the Olympics. It's like
That's what
World
Hillary
Cup.
is. She did everything else except become the president.
Yeah, you're right. Newsom's probably like, don't. I'm not taking this shit.
Why should I?
Yeah. No,
I
exactly.
won't. I won't.
That. Yeah. Yeah. No, like I've had huge podcasts before, and they'd be like, "You want to do it today or tomorrow?" And it will be like a day where I didn't like sleep well, and I'm all kind of out of whack, and I'm like, "Let's do it." I'd rather get a good night's sleep. Like I want to come into it strong. I want to. Yeah. No. Why? Yeah. That's a good point. He's probably like, don't tar me with this shit, right? Yeah.
You'll
No,
find
that's
all the two, three other governors are there. I think from, I don't remember. There were two, three other governors, one lady and a gentleman. I think they'll also say, "Whoa, listen, I'm Kamala, all the best."
yeah. So you think Biden's dead? So I was sick. I
I
was
don't
sick on
know.
Sunday, and I literally slept all day Sunday, and I woke up and it was like Biden's stepping down. He's endorsing. I missed everything. I took one day off.
Now, he made a statement on the Secret Service director resigning. He said, Jill and I are grateful to Director Kim Cheetle for her decades of public service. She has selflessly, blah, 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 blah. We all know what happened that day. We can never have it happen again. As we move forward, I wish Kim all the best, and I will plan to appoint a new director soon.
But he
So that's
hasn't. Has he come out
White
on
House
video?
statement. No, it's just a White House statement. See, that's the whole thing.
That's where I'm getting at though.
They're such big fools. If he's there, take a freaking video of him and put him out. What are
Yeah,
you doing?
something's odd. Yeah, something is odd. Why wouldn't he? What's the benefit of this? I'm trying to think. Like, what is there a value to doing this? Man, yeah, him stepping down. That's I've never seen more impressions on a Twitter post. 413
Mhm.
million. Wow.
So there's something to this, and probably in the coming weeks you'll kind of get to know. We could probably get together once again and
Sure.
talk about that. That's not a problem. But there is something happening which we need to kind of put a finger. Either it's the reorientation, as I said, that they would move out from this guy and get into the big tech part of it and say, okay, fine, fair enough, you guys, here's the money, here's what you need, take it forward, keep this guy in check. Oh sir, we can't keep him in check. Okay, fair enough, then get him one of our vice presidents so that he can keep him in check. That's why JD Vance comes in.
Mm.
So there is, of course, and you look at him, he was a never Trumper. Trump is Hitler. His wife,
Yeah.
Indian origin,
Yep.
Hindu. She was a liberal Democrat through college. She, I think, studied on a Gates or a Clinton Foundation, scholarship
Oh, that's good.
from Yale, if I'm not mistaken.
It's there's some oddities going on right now. And I think
Yeah, yeah.
that it's I think the whatever the uniparty, the centralized power that wants the continuity, I think they're looking that the tide is turning for Trump and they're going in the same way that the tide was so against Trump in 2020, right? That I think that like anything Biden did, it was just kind of like it's not Trump. And so it's like vaccine mandates. It's just like we're the party of science, right? We're
Mm.
pulling out of Afghanistan. You can kind of bum rush these things when it feels like you have some sort of mandate, regardless if you do or not. But if it feels like you do, I feel like that's kind of what's happening with Trump. Trump's gonna ride in. They're like we can push back against this, or we can kind of lean in, let it punch through, and then do a bunch of stuff we want to do that will get kind of cloaked by the momentum of Trump's back in. We're going to make America great again. And they're going to have things like, the National Defense Authorization Act. You're going to have some like you're going to have something that you normally wouldn't. And by the way, we need 2 trillion for Taiwan and we're no longer in Ukraine. And everyone's like, you're right. I'm sick of Ukraine. And Trump's like, we're going to protect Taiwan. And you'll have a bunch of people that are just caught up in the hysteria. They're like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah.
out of Ukraine. And it's like,
China needs to go.
China
China is
needs to
this,
go.
China
We're
that.
going to war with that. We need 10 trillion over 10 years and it's going to happen. And also, how else would you get like military numbers up? Right
So
now, you
that's
have a
what it
bunch of
is.
white dudes that don't want to join because they've been rightfully so. Not that they've been demonized rightfully. In their minds, they have been demonized. You've been called Hitler. If you're a white dude that loves your country and Jesus, you're Hitler incarnate. How would
Yeah,
you get
same
a
here in
bunch?
India.
How would you get a
If you're a
bunch of
Hindu,
yeah?
if you're a Hindu, you're just nationalistic. You know,
How would you get a bunch of dudes to join the military, even if you're just drone operators? How would you do that? Right. And if you have JD Vance and his wife's, Indian, and if we're doing, turning that into a data hub as well as oil, I mean, it kind of seems like we're and where's India? Is that anywhere near close to China? Yeah, just I would say it is. I would say it is. Seems pretty convenient. It seems pretty convenient.
that's the whole
So
thing.
that's what I mean. And obviously we can't know, but just kind of gut feeling and going off whatever open source data we do have, that's what it looks like. The big money is going to back Trump. To me, a groundswell of hysteria, almost manic patriotism, and we're gonna punch. They've probably got something they've probably got something on the shelf that they've been waiting to pull off for a couple of years. They're like, no, they hate Biden. We can't start going all in on Taiwan. You're gonna have Trump come in, and Trump's gonna come out and be like, you know, Taiwan, the best computers. India's always been our best friend, and you're just gonna have a bunch of people frothing at the mouth, like, let's go, Biden's out. It's because no one has any belief in this system. I mean, I know every conservative military guy friend I have is like the 2020 election was stolen, therefore the whole thing's out. If Trump wins again, it would reinstate some sort of faith in the system. It's it's bittersweet because I like Trump, but at the same time, I have an eerie, I just kind of have an eerie like spidey sense about this. It just feels it's odd. The big
Yeah,
money in tech is getting behind him. Why?
continuity. Because
Well,
they kind of captured the market. Nobody realized that this would actually happen. Nobody kind of realized that the tech would become that important. Once they do realize it, they say, okay, fair enough, let's play with these boys. you know and at the end of it, if we've put in money and these boys are kind of earning the money, what difference does it make to us? We gotta earn the money, that's it, thank you. So the game is simple. Yeah, it's about kind of keeping your order straight, which is not going to happen. Let me say that the world order is not going to remain the same. It's not going to be a unipolar movement, because there are other powers coming up.
yeah.
You've got China, which is another big power, which is kind of on the tailspin down right now. But you've got India coming up. You've got other Indonesia coming up. You've got huge power centers coming up. Saudi Arabia is opening out. So there's a whole lot. I mean, if you look at Europe, there's only one country that is growing today, and that is the country that wasn't destroyed by illegal immigrants. That's Poland. Why did you need Poland? You needed Poland because it's the back base to Sweden and Finland, which are, guess what, the latest new members in NATO. Okay, why do you need Sweden and Finland? Why? Because the polar ice is kind of melting and you need to take out the resources from the north. Okay, why don't we do that normally? Why? Because the Russians have 19 military bases. They thought before us and they did that. And they control that entire freaking area. So you need to contest that. And it's a battle of influence. It's the battle of domination. It's the battle of running the world. So now, if I was America, I'd say, okay, fair enough. If there's so many power centers coming across, what's my biggest challenge? Let me kick that guy out and work with the rest to kind of create another structure where I am kind of in the center
Hmm.
and I have my power center around the world where I'm not putting in that much, except for I'm giving technology, I'm giving some money here and there. That's fine. I don't have to get my hands dirty. Let me work with countries to kind of figure it out, which is where they need to be. They overtly say that, but covertly they say, why should I work with them when I can break him down and I control it myself?
Hmm.
That's the thing which is basically making the world order change today. And everybody talks about that. The Great Reset of 2030, which is mentioned by our friend, retired, uh, World
Klaus
Economic
Schwab.
Forum founder, Klaus Schwab. The world will change. There is no way. People who have said, yeah, people who have said, these are things that are going to happen, right? Because as the world grows, people will demand their place in the world.
Hmm.
The UN, United Nations Security Council, will change. There are alternatives that have come up. The Americans are very scared of BRICS. Every time somebody says BRICS, oh, no, BRICS is stupid, BRICS is this, BRICS is that. BRICS is a positioning platform. They're showing you the middle finger, nothing else. Either you work with them or you know, fight them. There are two
Hmm.
options. And then you got powers like India. If today we side with Russia and China, that Western order is done. If today we side with America, this order is done. It's not going to happen. That's why we say, no, we're not doing this. We're going to stay where we want to stay for our country. Strategic autonomy. And that's hated by everyone. So we get attacked by China, we get attacked by Americans, we get attacked by everybody. And it's a tough place to be today in the world, because we are still growing and we are taking hits after hits after hits after hits. It's crazy, but that's what the path that we've chosen for ourselves. India has always been like that, not from now, but from ancient times. We've always had our own space in the world. I mean, and this is an old country. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 years old. I don't know. I mean, nobody's been able to date India till now. They found a freaking sword which was some 8, 9,000 years old recently, and they're still digging, by the way. So India just started this archaeological survey just about 10, 20, 20, 25 years ago. And they're finding stuff here also like, okay, wait, hang on. This is very old.
Yeah.
So, and the Hindu deities and stuff like that have been found all over the world. So what the hell were these Indians up to?
Hmm.
They were trading. It's not, our reach was everywhere. We had one of the largest navies in the world in 1600s. When the Portuguese came to India, he, he brought the biggest ship and this and that. When he reached the Indian harbor, he said, looked at the ships there. Our trading ships were 3 times the size of his. Where we lost out is because we had infighting, right? We had the technology. We were sailing all over the world. I mean, there are these Vedas which are written in India thousands of years ago. They have said 9 planets. They have said, the sun, moon, and the stars. They have said the sun is in the center. They do this, 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 this. They have written about calculus. They've written about arithmetic. They've written about algebra. They've written about thousands of years ago without, telescopes and stuff like that. There are certain places where they're doing research now. They've written about flight, how to
Hmm.
fly. They've written about space travel thousands of years ago. Again, this is the level of technology that was there in this country. We lost it all because we started infighting. And this is the clearest example for any country to look at, that here is where you lose a civilization because you started fighting amongst yourselves.
Hmm.
We were the richest country in the world. There's just no question. All the gold and the diamonds and everything like that came from here. We used to, let's say 800, 900 AD, we used to contribute about 35 to 40% of the global GDP. Then we had Muslim invaders who kind of, and our religion, our way of life is forgiving. Somebody comes and attacks us, we don't, if he says, okay, sorry, I'm lost, we say, okay, go back home. It's okay. One invader came 17 times and one of our kings just let him go. The 18th time he came and he won. That's the stupidity of our this thing. But that's the technology we had. I mean, you see written word which is there. We've been writing stuff since it's crazy. By the way, globalsecurity.org is a website run by the American Defense Department. Log into it, see the dates mentioned there about the age of India, figure it out. So they know it. They do research on it. One of our ancient most language called Sanskrit, of which Hindi and every other language is born out of in India. They have said this is the perfect language to do computer programming. Not me, NASA.
Hmm.
Because it's the perfect language, is fully evolved. English is not good, Hindi is not good, rest of the language, Latin is not good. Sanskrit is the one, because and by the way, there are Sanskrit learning institutes in America and Japan and all over the place. They want to learn. Whoa, what is this?
Isn't that one of the, I'm a big UFO head. Isn't one of the things like the Vimanas or something, that
Yeah,
Indian, like
yeah.
that's all in the
There are
UFO lore. Yeah.
10 places in India where there are registered radioactivity so as to kind of tell you that there were nuclear explosions.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's part of the lore. It's like, yeah, there's like nukes and UFOs in India.
Yeah. So in one place, by the way, there is radioactivity pointing towards the sea. So you can stand behind it and not get any radioactivity, but it's pointing towards the sea. What the hell did we have? I don't know. Who fired what?
That's a great coastal defense.
Yeah. Whatever it was, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it was.
We had wars where 18 million people fought. I mean, these are recorded. People call them mythology. I call them history,
Hmm.
because the names of the places are there. There are things mentioned which are there. There are temples mentioned which are there. There are geographical features mentioned which are there. There is astronomy written there that, okay, the sun will be in this position, the moon will be in this position, Saturn, Jupiter, all of them in this position. So when you clock it back, this particular war happened 32,000 years ago. I'm not sure even now, but there are people who are doing this research. And they're trying to figure out what is this. So there was something that we lost. We lost it because of infighting. And that's what people should learn from this. That if you keep infighting like this, you're going to lose what you have. That's what I see in America. There is infighting. And it's bitter infighting, which will damage the structure of America today, which will create that kind of a disbalance. And that's how the world order will change. If America stays united, United States of America, it stays united, well, it's damn difficult to put off a country that has all the tech, all the military, the reserve currency. You got everything, all the resources, the military bases around the world to fuck people up when they kind of put their heads up. But why are you losing is because of the trust. And that trust is gone inside your system because there are certain few who thought that because of their own money, they could control your system. So they made you fight. People like George Soros, who, by the way, has endorsed Kamala Harris. Alex Soros came out and tweeted, "Oh, all the best, Kamala. I'm behind you." So that's the problem. And these guys have very personal interests of growth, personal, vendettas and stuff like that. And when that comes into play, then you have situations like this. And now, because the world is connected, whatever happens in America is impacting Vietnam, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, because it's a globalized world. Anywhere there's a break in the chain, you're gonna have a problem. People have to understand that, and world leaders need to understand that you can't do this anymore. You gotta sit down and say, okay, we have changed. The world has changed since 1945. We need to reset this, or else we're going to fight and die. And some idiot is going to press that red button, and that's it.
There's also kind of like there is a wisdom in looking way back into history, not just
Yeah.
It's one thing to look back World War II. It's 80 years ago. It's an unfathomable time. But then you look into history that's 800 years ago, or 8,000 years ago, or 80,000 years ago, and you do start to see certain trends that, in an odd way, are almost peace inducing because, and I don't mean it in like a black pilling way or an apathetic way, but there is a level of peace you get. You look outside and it's raining right now. In an hour, it might not be raining. Right now, all the trees have leaves. In a couple months, they won't have leaves. I'm looking out at buildings, and in 100 years, most of them will probably be gone. There'll probably be some new ones up. But if I look out into the mountains, in 100 million years, they'll probably still look the same, if not change a little bit. There is something almost peace-inducing that there are currents of power and matter that are so beyond anything even remotely close to our time scale. There's I don't have a right word for it, but there's something almost peaceful about it. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting my point across. Not even quite sure if I know what I'm trying to say. But there is something, I don't know, the perspective. It allows you to maybe extricate yourself from, say, the 2024 election and Twitter. It allows you to kind of go, it's bigger than that, right? And you look up
Yeah,
at
it
night
is.
and you see the stars, and that's even on a bigger time scale than the mountains. And there's something beautiful about that. Again, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say, but there's beauty in that. There's peace in that. I don't think that has anything to do with what we were talking about, but that's
No, it
that's
is, because all of this is nature at the end of it, right? And it inspires you. And that's what I keep saying, that I've said this multiple times on my platform that you gotta look at the greater good. You know, you gotta be strategic, not tactical. The difference is that tactics is what you use to get the girl to go out on a date. You know, strategy is to figure out what you're going to do with her once you get her on the
Mm,
date, right? So
mm,
there's a difference. You kind of have to think long term. Are
yeah,
is this just a movie? Is it dinner? Is it going to be second date, third date? Am I getting married to her? Whatever it is,
sure.
you got to look at it from a larger perspective, because the world has become very short sighted, because everything is 60 seconds. You know, everything is an Instagram reel. Everything is now. People want instant gratification. Uh, well, it doesn't work like that. The
Mm,
world is more complicated than that. It's not so simple. And people have written about it, but who reads today?
mm, it's a fair point. Um, Audie, I said we wrap this one up. I think we've hit about it. But I think we do need to do another one. It seems
Anytime. Figure
like
it
things
out.
are changing pretty rapidly right now, so we might need to do another one sooner than later. Um,
Yeah, sure. I had fun.
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, it's a blast. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I mean, how much has changed in 2 weeks? It's like,
Yeah, but do some research on National Endowment of
yeah,
Democracy,
no, I'll
and
make a note.
let me see how much hair you lose by the
Oh
end of the end
God,
of
oh
next time.
God, I'll make a note of it. National Endowment for Democracy.
Yeah, they're freaking everywhere. They've got 16 organizations, 16 aid organizations, you know, USAID and everybody. It's all part of that.
It's just kind of funny. 2 weeks ago versus today.
Yeah.
It's like the head of the Secret Service resigned. Why? Well, because there was an assassination attempt on President Trump. What Biden say? It doesn't matter. Biden stepped down. Kamala's in charge. Oh, and by the way, they think Biden might be dead. It's what? In 14 days, man. It's like it is, that is a lot has shifted in 14
Yep.
days.
Yep. Yep.
Well, Adi, dude, I appreciate your time. It's always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking to you, man. You're a brilliant individual and a great conversationalist, and
Thank you,
it
sir.
truly is a
Thank you
pleasure to
for
have you
providing
on
me.
here. And
Thank you.
I'll I'd love to do it again sometime. Yeah, let's do it sooner than later. It
Thank you.
feels like things are kind of
Namaste.
accelerating. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, guys. Please go check out Audie's YouTube channel. It's in the description. I believe your Twitter is as well. I think all your links are
Yeah.
in there. Please go check out. Go give them a subscription. Audie, till next time, brother. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes, sir. Guys, thank you for watching.